For 15 years, Kristen Fraser has been the driving force behind the success of, I hope I get this right, Truffle Designs. She'll tell me. The designer's passion for her brand has turned it into a lucrative international business, with even Queen Bey Beyonce wearing her designs. So we zoom across to her now. Hi, Kristen, how are you?
Good morning, Delia. I am fine. How are you?
I am great. It's good to have you. So I understand that designing for you is a continuation of your family legacy. Tell me a little bit about that.
That's correct. That's correct. Well, where I'm actually sitting now, I am actually in my grandmother's store. She started Clover's in 1962. And so she started Clover's with fabric, notions, trimming, shoes, home furnishings, and craft items. And she was a crafter. And so I'm a third generation seamstress turned fashion designer. So grandmother was into the sewing and designing. My mother was into the sewing and designing. And I was the first one to turn it into an actual brand. So I decided to name the brand Truffle. So you got the name right.
Cool.
Truffle, which is French for clovers.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's an amazing thing, because your grandmother and your mother would have come from the generation where, listen, if they use a needle to sew a dress, it is perfect. So you had that kind of training.
Done.
Yeah, you had that kind of training,
yes.
But you also got some international training done as well. Where did you go and what did you study there?
Yes. So even though I started sewing from the age of 7, I had to kind of refine everything and put it all together. So I studied at a private school called the International Academy of Design and Technology, and I was based at their location in Tampa, Florida. So that school has since been renamed Sanford Brown. But in 2002, that's where I decided to study, to kind of take my craft and own it and perfect it, and also get the business side of things so that I could come back home to the British Virgin Islands and start my brand.
Nice. So you've explained to me Truffle is French or Clover. Is Clover your grandma's name?
Yes, Clover is my grandmother's name. It's actually her middle name. So her name is Ruth Clover Anthony. And so she's since deceased, but my mom's name is also Ruth. So it's interesting. Yeah. It's an interesting spin on it. And it's all about legacy building, I guess, if you will. So I'm definitely happy to be doing what I do.
I love it. It's legacy, and it's also, I believe, underscoring your international experience, and that's what you're bringing to the brand. So the BVI, I've been to the BVI. I'm looking at the colors and the designs. Yes. As a designer from the BVI, do you incorporate those experiences in your design?
Of course. That's number one. If you were to ask me, where does my inspiration come from? Number one, it comes from being right here in the British Virgin Islands. You can take a simple scenic drive along the west coast or along the eastern part of the island, and you can get inspired just by the lush hills, just by of course, the crystal clear waters, just by the people and the interaction with the people, right? So that is my very, very first inspiration, the British Virgin Islands. And then I expanded out to all the travels that I've done globally, and I kind of put it all together. Right? Yeah. So color evokes mood, and I'm a very happy person. Yes. So everything about me is color.
Girl, the first thing I saw was that dress, and I said, the colors, I love it. Yes. It's okay. They're excited that you're on. If we hear them in the background, it's not too bad. No, Kristen, don't worry about it. So,
sorry about that.
No, that's fine. You designed the 2016 Olympic gear for BVI?
Yes, I did. So I guess I can say I'm like the official designer for the opening ceremonial games for our BVI delegates, whether they go to the Commonwealth Games, whether they go to the Olympics. It doesn't matter. I usually work with the team, and we conceptualize and we make really, really cool wear for them to represent the territory while representing and supporting a local designer. So it's like a win-win, and they get the full scope of the British Virgin Islands all in one.
Love it. So how does a young lady from the British Virgin Islands get the Queen, Beyonce, to wear one of her designs?
I know. It's pretty cool. So the BVI, even though we're less than 35,000 people, to have that honor, to have her wear not once, but twice, and to also have her have a few pieces thereafter, I think, it just stemmed from me being consistent as a creative and a designer, right? So when I started my company in 2008, the very first thing that I said was, I have to be international because we're so small. And so the business and the brand that I have been trying to build, definitely needed to be more international. And so I remain consistent with the collections that I would put out year after year after year. And, someone just saw it and I got contacted and we were good to go.
Oh my gosh, what did that do for your brand?
Oh, it elevated it for sure. It's interesting. And I always tell this part of the story because it elevated it, sure, for the Caribbean, for my country, but it also, it kind of put a little question mark because the masses in terms of the USA, they weren't sure who I was or what my brand was because they never heard of the brand, number one.
Yeah.
A lot of them also never even heard of the British Virgin Islands. So I had to kind of market myself in both dynamics. So It was a win-win, but I still had to kind of navigate a little bit just to kind of cement myself as a designer and as a brand.
Listen, it's something I say even here in Jamaica, that the way the creatives represent their country and the ways in which the creatives bear the flag, because there you are from the BVI, and because of you, there are a lot of people who now know where the BVI is and a little bit about the country. You started out with swimwear.
Yes.
But you've
evolved. I started with swimwear. It was, I started with swimwear because it took me, even though I knew how to sew, it took me about 67 weeks to learn to make a simple bikini in college, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I came back home, I said, okay, I want to start my brand. What do I want to focus on? What do people love? And I want to make sure I infuse my love for color, my love for prints and so on. What can I do? And I said, you know what? I'm going to go the swimwear route, but I'm going to go the swimwear route with intent to expand on that. So I started with swim in 2008, and then I added from there the resort wear for men, women, and children, and then I added the accessories, and then I added the home furnishings and so on. So I continue to grow the brand as the years progress with what I love all around.
Because I'm looking behind you, I'm seeing accessories, but you also collaborated with Otterbox?
Yes, and it's right here. So I'm the first Caribbean designer and the only Caribbean designer to partner with U.S. company based Otterbox, where they focus on, of course, beautiful accessories and technology. And so we worked together, and I did 2 prints for them initially in 2017 that launched in April 2017, and it launched really, really well. I definitely was able to span my wings in the accessory market because of them. And then after Hurricanes Irma and Maria in September 2017, we did another print. And then for my 15th anniversary, which I'm in right now, we decided to work again and collaborate again. And we did 2 new prints. So I've worked with them 3 times and I have 5 prints.
What? No, girl, I'm so glad I heard this. I'm not buying any more Otterbox unless the design is from Kristen Fraser.
Absolutely.
Yes. So 15 years. Usually at an anniversary, people reflect on where they're coming from, but also what's ahead. Are you thinking of setting up shop across the Caribbean or any other Caribbean country? What are the plans?
I know. So it's so interesting because I can go so many different ways. Yeah. But again, going back to my roots and the basis of following my business plan, I knew that I wanted to be able to sell wholesale and retail. So currently I do sell wholesale and retail, and I do ship worldwide with my online store. And interestingly enough, I am actually in Jamaica right now, where some of my products are in a store called Local or Locale. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, with Carrie. And so that store is in Kingston. So she currently has a few of my pieces there. But the plan is to continue to expand globally with wholesale accounts in hotels, in boutique stores, worldwide. We have a great array of products with our prints on them. So from the swim to the resort wear to journals to the accessories to throw pillows, home furnishings, and so much more. And in the bigger picture of things, I also do consulting. And so we do private label for different hotels. We do private labels for various trust companies and corporations in terms of gifting products and so on. So I do offer quite a bit of services for clients locally and regionally.
Well, girl, thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. I got to meet you before you go. I'm going to pop up by Kerry so we can have a chat. Thank you so much. And congratulations for flying the Caribbean flag.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's Kristen Fraser. Remember the name. CEO Treffle Designs. Remember that too. This is Caribbean Check-In.